have fun doing business. It doesn't have to be this contractual, it can be fun. You can enjoy this. You can enjoy each other. You have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe in your product. You have to believe in your process. You have to believe in your company. People are smart and they can read that and they know that I don't really trust this guy, or I don't really believe this guy really cares. The greatest leaders or the greatest business people have all failed. It's okay to fail. If you haven't failed, you probably haven't taken enough chances. Every day you wake up, make it a purposeful day. Set an agenda, set a goal, whether it's how many calls, whether this is what I'm going to work on, this is what I'm going to do. And, you have something to look at and something to kind of check and say, got it. And it pumps you up. You've accomplished what your goals. And who doesn't want to accomplish a goal that they have?
Yeah.
Makes you feel good.
Diverse thinking to the podcast from a generational aspect.
Change doesn't have to be overwhelming. Once you've made change, your mind knows how to make change.
At any stage of our lives, we are unstoppable.
Welcome to episode 18 of our Unstoppable podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Bonahoom. Today, we're welcoming guest Andy Gannon, speaker, survivor, and unstoppable force for resilience. Andy's story gripped the nation when he survived the catastrophic I-35 bridge collapse in Minneapolis in 2007. What could have been the end became a powerful new beginning. Andy has since dedicated his life to sharing his message of perseverance, healing, and hope. From the wreckage of one of the most terrifying events in recent history, he emerged with a mission to help others face life's hardest moments with courage and clarity. In this unforgettable episode, Andy takes us through the moment everything changed, how he rebuilt his life, and what it truly means to live with purpose after trauma. Let's dive in. Welcome, Andy.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I just love your story. Every time I hear it, I take so many things from it. Why don't you start by just telling our audience that story from that day and where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, thanks for having me, Tyler, Michelle. So on August 1st, 2007, my day started off just like any other regular day. Gave my wife and kids a kiss goodbye and went to work. That day at work was the last day to sell a sponsorship. It's like a $50,000 sponsorship. And at that point of the day, it's kind of hard to get somebody on the line to write this contract. I was fortunate enough to make that happen and to write the contract and to sell the last sponsorship. But because of that great professional moment in my career, it actually created one of the worst moments of my life. It prevented me from leaving the office at the time I originally planned on leaving, which was roughly about 5:00, a little after 5. I got on the bridge. I was probably about a quarter of the way on the bridge when I heard a loud thud, and the bridge actually moved lateral. And I thought, oh, that was weird. Must have been like a barge hitting one of the beams in the water. But I wasn't really afraid at that time. I thought, okay. And I kept going. And about, 3, 4, 5 seconds later, I heard a loud cracking and breaking and, just like destruction. And it was all around. You could hear it. And that's when I was a little concerned. I thought, I don't like that. And the bridge was kind of moving still lateral. And I thought to myself, I've got to get off the bridge. Sorry.
Yeah. Wow.
Even to this day, it brings back some obvious emotions. But
yeah, right.
I thought to myself, I got to get off the bridge because I knew something was not right. Mm-hmm. As I tried to speed up, I looked up and everybody was pretty much at a dead stop in the bridge. I was heading north on 35W, mm-hmm. and the north end had buckled up, and it had this buckled up, and it was lifting up cars, and it was coming right at me. And at that moment, I knew I'm in trouble. And what I found out later was what they told us is, concrete has to be cut so it doesn't crack and break. It prevents that. So the bridge had its cement, and it had cuts in it, obviously cuts, and the grid underneath it was failing. So what was happening was the grid was failing, and it was popping up the cement slab by slab, kind of like a wave. These cars were up in the air and then they'd come back down, and I'd watch cars go over the side it was breaking, and some actually had fallen between the two sides. when it reached me, I basically had conceded that this was it. It came to me, it lifted me up. And I remember I heard the thud of it coming back down and my car coming right back down. And the bridge was intact. And I remember thinking, oh, okay, maybe it's going to be okay. And before I could even think to move forward, the bridge collapsed all in one.
Wow.
And when I wrote it down, I remember thinking, I'm going to drown. I was assuming I was over the river. Fortunately for me, I was not. I was over the parkway, the Mississippi River Parkway, 3/4 over the parkway and a quarter hanging over the embankment to the water. So when my slab hit the ground, hit the parkway, it broke the section in front of mine broke in front of me into the water, into the embankment, into the water, and mine stayed intact on top of the parkway. Like I couldn't see anything but this dust cloud. And when it was gone, I remember this vividly for about 3 to 5 seconds. It was the most eerie quiet that I'd ever experienced in my life. And I say eerie because I thought I had died. I thought, I don't hear birds. I don't hear the wind. I don't hear humans. I hear nothing.
Wow.
It was almost like peaceful, but it was just very odd. And I remember thinking, I died. I must have died. That didn't hurt. And I didn't go in the water. And then within a few seconds after that, it became obvious to me that I'm not dead, because it was complete chaos. People were screaming. People were running around. So I grabbed my phone, which is in the console of my car, and I pulled it up. And I called my wife at the time, and it went to voicemail. And as it went to voicemail, I thought, get out of the car, run and get off, try to jump off or do something, not stay in your car. So I opened my door with my phone to my ear and I got out. And right when I got out, I looked across and I could see that we were on the parkway, and I'm standing there next to my car, listening to everybody and just thinking, what just happened? I just watched the bridge in front of me fall all the way down into the water. And now people are screaming, and the school bus was to my left, and I could hear the kids screaming, and it was just like this surreal moment. And I thought to myself, well, where do I go? What do I do? And I saw the guy behind me. He actually got out of his car when I turned to look, and he had the look of fear. Like I'd never seen another human being that was that scared. He was probably in his early 20s. And he got out of his car. He ran. Our cars were between. He was right behind me. He ran between our cars and was gone. And I thought, what do I do? Then I heard the kids screaming on the bus. So I had jumped over the median and went to help the kids off the school bus. And by that time, there was another gentleman there, and we helped him off the school bus. And then some other people came, and we handed him over to the side where there were like rollerbladers and bikers and walkers, and they would grab them and they put the kids on the little like grassy embankment off to the side. And I remember looking ahead of me, and there was a Tasty Bread truck in front of the school bus, and the cab of the truck was crushed by all the concrete, but I could still hear him in there. And at that time, it was black smoke was coming out, and I could hear him in there screaming. But I'm looking at these tons of concrete. I consider myself a fairly strong guy, but I'm not that strong. And I thought to myself, I don't know what to do. I can't move that. I don't know what to do. You couldn't see a door. You couldn't see the cat. You couldn't see anything, but you could hear him. And then it caught on fire. And obviously it got it more, the screams were intense. And this gentleman unfortunately passed away. I want to show you, I carry a piece of the bridge, the 35W bridge, in my pocket every day, and have for the last, I think it's about 7 years, 8 years. This is a piece of a rivet that went into the gusset plate. It's a heavy little piece of metal, but I keep it in my pocket. And, there's days that whether it's business and things aren't going my way, and I'm getting a lot of no's, and I'm not writing business, and I'm struggling, or on a personal side, I'm struggling. This is a reminder that it's okay.
Yeah.
it can always be worse.
Yeah.
And, with business, we have to understand, sometimes we puts and invest so much into our business and into our work day that we are forgetting about the important things. Not that work isn't important, but
Yeah.
the people in your world, your bubble, that's what's important.
What an amazing story. I mean, you just had such a pivotal moment in your life. And I know a lot of our listeners are walking through pivotal moments in their life. And as you think back to that moment, that pivotal moment, and the fact that you said, wow, I have this second chance at life. What am I going to do different? How did your mindset have to change? And what were some of the steps you needed to start taking?
Tell the people, wow, that you love them, because they can never take that away. And when you're gone, they will always remember that. I say, I love you, Dave. I love you, Kelly. I love you, Troy. And if they're uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable. But you're going to know that I love you and that you're important to me. That's how I've taken it. And from a business side of it, it's really putting yourself out there. And whatever you do for work, whether you own a business, whether you're transitioning or not, it is taking those chances. Now, obviously, research that before you take a chance. I'm not saying jump into something that you have no idea what you're doing. But if you want to start that new business, or you want to transition into something new, and you're nervous and you're scared, do the research and take that chance. Prepare for that it doesn't work, but expect that it will. But in business, we need to take those chances and try different things that might be uncomfortable. And what I try to do too is with my prospects and my clients, customers, is remembering that this is a business transaction that we're doing, but they're also human. They have emotions. They have things they're dealing with, they're struggling with. So I like to make them aware that I'm here for that too. I'm not a counselor, but you need to talk. If you're going through a rough day and something happened, dude, I'll talk to you. Let's talk this out, because we're all human.
Yeah.
We're all here. And the fact that we aren't helping each other, that's disgusting, in my opinion. We have to help, whether it's business or whether it's personal. And that's how I look at when I'm doing business. That's what I want them to know, that you have a sales guy, and it's a negative connotation that a sales guy. Well, guess what? You have a sales guy that actually does truly care about your business and you.
I think that's a really important point for leaders, because especially in Minnesota, I think we have a hard time. We try to separate personal and professional, and subconsciously as humans, we can't do that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you really kind of had an awakening to bringing your whole self to your job. Even talk to our audience about that, because I think a lot of leaders struggle with that.
You really have to look at getting uncomfortable. What is it that's going to help my business? What is it that's going to help my employees? And that's very important. That's a business owner who's not looking at their employees as the most important part of their business, I think they're really missing out. You're really missing out. Your employees are number one to your business. Without them, you don't have a business. So making sure that they're appreciated and understood, and you listen to them. You have to be innovative. You've got to try different things. You've got to, whether it's working or not, at least if things are working, then listen to new ideas and concepts that may help or may not, but take others' opinions and advice and listen to it. You don't have to act on it. But I think it's good to get those other CEOs or those other influencers into your world, and those connections become so much greater, not even from a business thing. Like I was talking about with my own self and my clients, you become friends, you become, confidants, and status quo is not always the right thing.
How did you go about doing that? Like, how did you have to shift your mindset, and what are some of the things you started to do different? Help our audience that maybe doesn't know how to bring their whole self to their work. Help
Yeah.
them with the steps to do that.
Well, I think it's really first and foremost, like, give yourself grace, step back, understand your position, your role, appreciate that you have that position, that role, but then look around you. What else is helping this business thrive and grow, and understanding what they do and what they don't do even, and understanding how that helps your business, what can change, what can stay the same to help grow that business. But it's really challenging yourself and doing something different that you're not, and it might fail. But you know what? And they say that the greatest leaders or the greatest business people, have all failed, and they failed multiple times. It's okay to fail. I think if you haven't failed, you probably haven't taken enough chances. But like I said, I'm going to stress, don't just jump into something. Put your time and effort and research into it, and do what you need to do before you start it, and take that chance. And if you fail, that's okay. The people that are going to knock you are the people that are afraid to try anything new. So I look at it as like, if I fail at it, I don't care what you think, Mr. Man or Mr. Woman who I don't know, could care less. I tried, it didn't work. So we're going to go back to the drawing board, and we're going to keep trying. In my business, I'm trying to talk to these individuals, and they won't sometimes they won't take the opportunity to listen to how this might help your business. And I kind of sometimes shame on you for not looking at an idea, a concept that you're not familiar with that could help you, and more importantly, help your employees. How are you not thinking outside the box? You're staying status quo. You're doing everything the same as what everyone's done. And it might work, and it might be okay, and it's going okay. Could it be better? Could something that you haven't thought of, that someone's brought to the table? And that's another thing, is a lot of times what I've come across is business owners and leaders who aren't taking advice from others. It sometimes gets to be an ego issue. And it's like, I think great leaders, whether it's your leader at your office, your boss, your manager, the great leaders and the great business owners are the individuals who are listening to other people and their ideas, their concepts. Yeah. And they might scrap it and say, no, we don't want that, or that doesn't make sense. But you're taking the time to listen to what somebody else from the outside's looking at that you might not have thought of. And I think ego can sometimes get in the way. And nope, I've been doing this for years. I don't need to change anything. I don't even need to listen to it. It's been going great. Well, could it be better? And I think the business leaders and owners that don't do that, it's like, I think you're missing out. I prospect a lot, and I try different methods. I do drop-ins now. And I call on people's cell phones, and I just leave them a nice polite note. And if the individuals don't want that, and I say, no problem. But I'm going to try different ways to get in front of business owners, decision makers, to help my business, because I have a message, I have a product, I have solutions that possibly could help their business, and more importantly, help their employees. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to get in front of them, because I believe in what I'm doing. And that's the other thing, Michelle, is you have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe in your product. You have to believe in your process. You have to believe in your company. If you don't, people aren't going to buy from you. People aren't going to listen to you, because people are smart, and they can read that, and they know that I don't really trust this guy, or I don't really believe this guy really cares. So it's believing in what you're doing. And once again, I'm bringing a service or a product to you, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, that's going to help you, that's going to potentially help you, help your employees. I believe in this. I think you should at least listen to this and then make a decision. And if it's not a good fit, because it's not always a good fit. I'm not saying what I do is perfect for everyone. It's not. But I think it's perfect for everyone to listen to it and then make a decision.
One, I love how you're talking about just keeping the relationships close. That's something that I do in my business a lot. Asking your employees how they're doing, this, that, it's very important. But the one thing that's coming up to me, and this is just a personal question, to be honest, is, sales guy to sales guy. When you are going into a sale, right? Everyone's different. Every company's different. Every person you connect to in the company is different. What do you do to make sure that you're going in there and neutrally and get to know them and make sure that you can go in there and still get the sale?
Have an understanding of what their business is. What do they do? Who do they market to? What's their purpose? And then finding out, what their goals are. If you can read up on them and find out that they just were bought, you have an idea. Oh, this is going to be a big transition. Do some research on the company so you have an understanding. I don't want to be caught in a situation where a business owner says, Andy, do you know what we do? and you're like, I think you do something with something manufacturing or something. I mean, you look unprofessional. You look like you don't care because, like I said, what I'm trying to do is I do care. And I do want this to be something that you're happy with, that this helps you, helps your employees, overall helps your business, that you can grow. And then you cultivate that relationship. And when, you can push a little, but know when to pull back and when to say, okay, you're absolutely right. I don't want to burn a bridge. I don't want to make somebody feel like if that guy calls me, I don't ever want to take his call. I don't want to, because I want to cultivate that relationship because you know what, here's the thing. We may not do business together, but we might be friends. And I don't mean we're going to go grab a beer together or go to a game together, but friends in the way that, hey, if I see something industry wise that fits your business, I'm going to let you know, hey, John, hey, Mary, I saw this on the news or read it in the paper. Are you aware of this? How it could potentially help your business? You can go on LinkedIn. You can go on a lot of, Facebook. I do a lot of research on individuals. They graduated from University of Minnesota or Iowa State. So, oh yeah, you have a Iowa State. I have some buddies that went down there. What were you in a frat or whatever? But don't make it BS. I was in the neighborhood. I don't say that when I do a drop. I wasn't in the neighborhood. I consciously made an effort to come see you because I tried LinkedIn or I tried a phone call, email, and I couldn't reach you. So I thought I would drop by and drop this off, leave my business card with a little gift or whatever. I'm not a fan of that. I was in the neighborhood. No, you weren't. They know that. So be authentic in what you're doing.
That's such an important point. I mean, I think that's kind of what you started with your story. You said, what came out of me was the human side of me and how
Yeah.
important that is and to not die with regrets. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you've just really been intentional about building that into your business in all areas of life, which I think so many business leaders focus on the transaction or focus on the operations or business, and they really they hate that squishy people stuff, but that's just the secret sauce, right, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and here's the thing, Michelle, you can have fun doing business.
Right.
What's to say you can't have fun? It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
this contractual, it can be fun. You can enjoy this. You can enjoy each other. There's probably gonna be some bumps of the road or some tough decisions to make or what have you, but you can have fun with it.
I love it. You just take that complicated selling thing out of it, and it's all about people helping people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what a good message. Like, if you were to look back on past Andy and give past Andy advice, what would that advice be?
I wish I would have had the understanding from the business owner's perspective. I kind of was like, how do you not see this? This is going to save you X amount, and what we do is amazing. And oh my God, you don't know what you're talking about, or whatever. And it would eat me and eat me. Well, then I started realizing after my experience is that you have to focus more on what others are going through. You won't know everything they're going through, but sometimes there's other things that are going on around them that you don't know about, and
Yeah.
their decisions to you might seem moronic or not wise or whatever, but you don't know what's going on in their world, their personal world, their business world. The old me would tell the younger me to just relax and think of it from their point of view.
So as you're looking forward to future Andy and your opportunity, what advice do you give yourself?
It's always great for whether you have a business, whether you even work, but set a goal, a personal goal, a business goal. I have a goal. I've set a goal for every week, whether it's how many calls, whether this is what I'm going to work on, this is what I'm going to do. And, you have something to look at and something to kind of check and say, got it. And it pumps you up. You've accomplished what your goal is. And who doesn't want to accomplish a goal that they have?
So how can our audience get in touch with you if they wanted to?
Ah, is this the plug?
This
Yeah.
is the plug.
Well, if you were interested in reaching out to me, you could reach out to me from two different emails. If one is my work email, which is agannon@paychex.com, or you can also reach me at my personal email, which is agannon11@yahoo.com.
Wow, well, it's amazing. I mean, if I were to sum up what I took away from this, like two very important things. Number one, make sure you humanize your business and life. And number two, don't die with regrets. So I hope our audience takes some really good nuggets away from this conversation. I just really thank you for your time, and we're just grateful for the message that you're giving to us and to our audience.
Yeah, I hope they do too, and you're more than welcome. This is once again when you reached out to me, I was excited because once again it's giving back and it's helping, and I it feels good. And if this helps you guys and it helps others in any way, I'm
Awesome.
very excited for that. So
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Unstoppable. If you found this episode valuable, please like, subscribe, and share. At Vision One, we help business owners and leaders navigate critical transitions. Whether you're growing, buying, or selling, or transitioning to the next generation, if you're feeling stuck or need extra support, visit us at visiononeperformance.com to learn how we can help. And don't forget to check out our book, Unstoppable: 7 Simple Steps to Get Unstuck, Make the Big Change, and Unlock Your Potential. It's free on Audible, so you can find the link on our website. Remember, the only limits are the ones you set. Stay unstoppable, and we'll see you next time.